Good day, my name is Jonathan Dabie. Together with my group members Dylan, George, and Justin Bakash, we will be presenting our Grow Box project. Food security in Trinidad and Tobago is insecure and maintained highly through importation, with an alarmingly high rate of approximately 80% of its food being imported, and a bill of 6 billion TT. Due to the country's main source of income being reduced as a result of the closure of Vegetarian in 2018 and the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is imperative that the government looks for measures to combat the country's high dependency on food importation. The researchers' proposal is to build and test the design of a small grow box for the purpose of producing crops locally for local consumption within communities. The theory being that locally produced crops will reduce the amount of funds spent on importing produce, and these can be allocated to other ventures, such as magnifying the agricultural sector. Our project aims to design and construct a home vegetable garden for different communities in Trinidad and Tobago to assess its feasibility, to provide information to the people about this kind of activity. Upon completion of this project, our goals are to create and put into practice home vegetable garden design systems, to create a cost-effective vegetable garden at home, to build the chosen vegetable garden at home. The goal of the initiative is to establish the most affordable home vegetable gardens possible for educated individuals as well as communities around the nation, because many homes are located in small spaces or high-rise buildings. However, many homeowners no longer have access to farm-based agricultural practices and methods. As a result, by growing their own food in small grow boxes, participants will be able to provide themselves with healthy food products at home. A home vegetable garden is a kind of food crop production technique that uses its covered space with soil that has already been blended. People will be introduced into a variety of crop management strategies, including harvesting, grading, and packaging crops, all of which are essential for a small-scale farming endeavor. Through this project, people in communities will be able to acquire the skills they need to become more proficient at farming sustainably. A questionnaire comprising of 14 questions relating to the project was created using Google Forms. This questionnaire was then published and distributed to the citizens of the southwest region of Trinidad to answer. From the questionnaire, it was gathered that around 85% of participants did not own a home garden. It was also gathered among 60 citizens. 20% of participants spent $100 to $300 on marketplace, while 80% spent $300 to $500 on marketplace, and finally 50% spent over $500 on marketplace. Some of the questions asked are: do you purchase goods from your local market? To which 95% of the citizens responded yes, 5% responded no. Another question I was asked is: what type of home garden design would you be interested in implementing? To which 52% agreed to the grow box using half barrels, 12% agreed to grow box made from bricks or wooden pallets, 36% agreed to a grow garden made from recyclable food items. Another question asked: which type of crops would you be interested in planting? From the list provided, which included lettuce, shadowbend, cabbage, pimento, okra, peas, and corn, 55% said lettuce, 20% said chive, 12% said shadowbend, 4% said cabbage, but 1% with each of the remaining: pimento, okra, peas, and corn. I will now be handing you over to Dylan and George to conduct the design part of the presentation.
Hi, my name is Dylan George, and in my section, I'll be teaching you on how to build and construct the grow box. In my section, there are 4 points that I want to emphasize. These points are: 1. What exactly is a grow box/home garden? 2. The tools and materials needed for this project. 3. The cost of these tools and materials. And 4. A step-by-step guide on how to construct and build the grow box. So what exactly is a grow box/home garden? Well, A grow box/home garden is a small area around a residence where individuals can cultivate and grow plants for their personal use. These home gardens/grow boxes can serve multiple purposes, including providing fresh produce, herbs, and flowers for your everyday use. These gardens/grow boxes can take different forms and sizes, ranging from large to small. Next, we will talk about the tools and materials you need when constructing this grow box. So firstly, you need a plastic barrel, which will cost you $300, an angle grinder, which will cost you $250, a wheelbarrow, which will cost you $500, a shovel, which will cost you $50, a fork, which will cost you $60, a power drill, which will cost you $750, a hose, which will cost you $80, a measuring tape, which will cost you $120, gloves, which will cost you $30, safety glasses, which will cost you $15, and a pesticide sprayer, which will cost you $300 TTD. If you believe that these items are above your budget, don't worry, we have provided alternative tool items. Next, let us go into a step-by-step guide on how to construct the grow box. Firstly, you need to pick your grow box site. Choose a location that is level and exposed to the maximum amount of sunlight. Ensure that it has proper drainage and does not flood easily. Ensure that it isn't near any tall trees or obstructions that may cast shadows over the grow box. Next, you need to prepare your plastic barrel. Ensure that your plastic barrel is clean from chemicals or substances from giving it a thorough cleaning using a non-toxic cleaning agent. If your barrel previously held any harmful substances, do not use for planting edible crops. Next, you need to construct your grow box. Using a meter rule, make an outline directly on the center of the barrel. Using an angle grinder, cut the barrel in half. If an angle grinder is outside of your budget, an alternative tool will be to use a hacksaw blade. But be mindful that this will be more physically demanding. After cutting your plastic barrel in half, you have to create drainage holes. Using an electric drill, make drainage holes in the bottom of the barrel. This prevents water from accumulating and ensures proper drainage for your plants. If an electric drill is outside of your budget, alternatively, you can use an ice pick. Heat the ice pick up so it can be easier to punch holes into the plastic barrel. After creating your drainage holes, you can build a base optionally. If your half barrel is not stable on its own, you can create a wooden base to support it. Ensure that the barrel is level and secure. After, you can fill your half barrel with soil. Fill the half barrel with high quality potting soil, which include manure, topsoil, and sharp sand, leaving about an inch of space at the top for watering. Make sure the soil is appropriate for the types of plants you plan to grow. Finally, transfer your seedlings into the half barrel. Ensure you space them accordingly to your specific requirements. That will be all for my section. Thank you for your time and listening. Next, I will pass you on to Justin for plant maintenance and the conclusion.
Lastly, let's talk about plant maintenance. Plant maintenance of shadow benny. The recommended type of soil for shadow benny requires that it allows for drainage and nutrient rich. Our soil composition contains topsoil, potting soil, and sharp sand. The topsoil and potting soil provides the nutrients for the plants while being sharp and provide the drainage needed. You may ask why it is important for proper drainage. It is crucial because it prevents waterlogging, which ensures that excess water does not accumulate around the plant roots. This allows oxygen to reach the roots, which facilitates proper nutrients uptake. Drainage also helps maintain the right balance of moisture in the soil, which promotes healthier growth. Recommended sowing of the plants are 12 inches apart and to be placed in an area where it is gets a surplus of sunlight. The plants may be watered once daily and the soil around the plants can be aerated, but lightly tilling the soil around them to allow for the water and nutrients to reach the roots. However, growing plants an adequate distance apart is beneficial. It allows sufficient space for growth without competition for resources such as nutrients, water, and sunlight. It also decreases the risk of disease spreading. Pest control. In Trinidad, the two most popular pesticides are lanate and agrinate, both of which are classified as 1B chemical. Highly hazardous, it is recommended to heavily dilute the pesticides when using them and to allow 2 weeks after watering for the pesticide to harvest. However, because seasoning has a high aroma, it usually repels most insects. Why is heavily diluting pesticides important? It ensures that it effectively targets the pests without harming the plant or environment. From a safe concentration of the chemical, it ensures even distribution of pesticides throughout the plant surface, minimizing the risk of further damage from pesticides. Herbicides. Recommended weed control is to manually weed around the plants, but herbicides can be used in diluted concentrations. Two recommended herbicides are Gramazone, Class 2 chemical, and Swiper, Class U chemical. The latter being the most recommended, and it is recommended to allow 2 weeks before harvesting after using the herbicides. Why should you wait an adequate amount of time before harvesting plants after the use of herbicides? It ensures the chemical residues from the herbicides have sufficiently degraded or dissipated. This helps minimize potential health risk for consumers. Harvesting. Shadow benny takes approximately 2 to 3 weeks to grow to a size required for harvesting. When harvesting, it is recommended to cut the leaves rather than extracting the entire plant. It should be noted from research that only 3 to 4 leaves of the plant should be harvested at a time, given that the plant has enough leaves for harvesting. Why it is recommended to cut the leaves of shadow benny rather than extracting the entire plant. By trimming the leaves, it encourages continuous growth of the plant, which produces new fresh leaves from its center over time. This allows for sustainable harvesting, which ensures a steady yield for future use. Costing. Cost. Materials, number of items, total amount. Plastic barrel, number of items, 2, total amount 300. Angle grinder, wheelbarrow, shovel, fork, drill, hose, measuring tape, gloves, safety glasses, pesticide spray bottle, all 1 item. These amounts were 500, 50, 60, 750, 80, 120, 30, 15, and 300. There are a table 1 that shows the material used, their quantity, and the cost of material. This is what I've just read. The total cost of the grow box totaled to $2,455. Conclusion. So, in conclusion, we've explored the essential care needed for plants like shadow benny, understanding how proper maintenance ensures sustainability and a continuous yield. Remember, it is not just about harvesting, it's about nurturing for future generations. As we conclude, I urge each one of us to embrace sustainable practices in our gardening endeavors. Let's be mindful harvesters, ensuring that our actions today support the abundance of tomorrow's nature. Thank you all for your attention and engagement throughout this presentation.